Snow day round 2. I am in the same outfit as my Russian tea cookies video because it's still snowing and I still have time to bake more cookies. This recipe is not my recipe, and I'll definitely link it below if I can find the exact one. If not, I have it written down. It was a recipe I had saved for a long time. It's, before we get started, we're making cranberry walnut cookies. It's actually a cranberry pistachio cookie recipe, but I don't have any pistachios. It's better with pistachios. I've made it with pistachios, but walnuts are just as good. This recipe is so good. I had it saved in my Pinterest for so long and I never have cranberries on hand, so I just never made it. And for Thanksgiving, I'm like, you know what? We're gonna try something new this year. And they're just to die for. I've already made them like 3 times since the first time I've made them. So we're gonna make them here. We will find the original poster of these cookies and give them all the credit because they deserve all the credit. I have all my ingredients out already. I left my mixer here dirty from the Russian tea cookies because we use nuts in the Russian tea cookies and there's nuts in this recipe. If you're baking for your friends and family, make sure you do nuts with nuts and everything else away from the nuts. Make sure everything is clean and, you know, allergies, that's it. Nut allergies. But we are just gonna do that. We're gonna save some water and just use the bowl we've already used, and let's get started. We're just trying all sorts of camera angles today. I'm trying to get my recipe book up in here. There we go, cool, all right. So I have everything we need and I'm just gonna talk through it. We're gonna start with another cup of unsalted butter. If you use salted butter, just don't add salt to the recipe. Yep. I don't know why I still hate touching butter. I've been baking my whole life. I don't like touching butter and oil. It's like that one thing. But you know what? I'm gonna suck it up for the sake of cookies. Blech. Now I'm gonna be a baby and wash my hands. Same process here. We're gonna cream together the butter and sugars. So you need 1.5 cups of white sugar, granulated sugar. 1.5. And then we have 1/4 cup of light brown sugar. Go. I'm gonna cream these together until it's nice and light and fluffy. This butter's still a little cold. Next, we're gonna add in 2 eggs, 1 at a time, until they're beaten all the way in. Oh, I guess this original recipe did not call for vanilla, but I put vanilla in everything, so we're gonna add like a teaspoon of vanilla. You're gonna follow this up by mixing in 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of orange zest, and 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. And we're gonna do that now. Just gonna eyeball this. It makes the cookies taste so fresh and delicious, so I'm not really afraid to overdo it. Same deal here, we're gonna mix in 1 cup of flour at a time. This recipe calls for 3 cups of flour. This also calls for a cup of unsalted pistachios, we're using walnuts, and a cup of chopped cranberries. I used fresh because I had them left over from the first time I made them.
Never again will you have to listen to her talk like this. You know, where everything has a question mark at the end of it, with an upward inflection at the end of every sentence.
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. Oh, damn it, now I'm doing it too.
I opted for 3/4 of a cup of walnuts just because I feel like there were extra cranberries in there, but it's a cup of each. And mix those in really quickly. Our oven is preheated to 375. So we are just gonna use a little ice cream scooper, scoop these onto greased baking sheets, give these guys a little bit of space to spread out. But the cool thing about this recipe is it's actually like one of those icebox cookie recipes. So you could wrap this up in a little bit of parchment paper, freeze it or refrigerate it, and then when it's nice and firm, you can just slice through to cook these up. I did them with just like the little ice cream scoop and they still tasted amazing. So that's what we're going to be doing here. But in the original recipe, it'll show you how to do it the other way if you're more into that style of cookie. You know what? We're going to play it safe. We're gonna do 12 on this baking sheet. Throw these in the oven. All right, we have 2 dozen in the oven now. There's still plenty more to do. I'm gonna go ahead and get all of that done and I'll show you the final result. So before I pull these out of the oven, I just realized that I forgot to put baking powder in them, but they look like they rose fine, so we're gonna be fine. These guys are done. They took way longer than I thought. I think I kept them in there for like 15 minutes at 375. Also without the baking powder, but I'll show you what they look like. And yeah, that's it. Final product, cranberry pistachio walnut cookies. These top ones I'm actually gonna keep in a little bit longer, so we're gonna grab these on the bottom here. They have a nice golden brown on the outside. Oh, these are so pretty. Look at that guy. Look at that juicy cranberry. And that is it. This recipe made about 3 dozen cookies. Thank you so much to the 3 people that are seeing this, and thank you so much to the person who created this recipe because it is now one of my favorites.